Hello. Hello around the world. My name is Ross. I'm in Los Angeles. This is Palimpsest Live. We are the International Art Alliance producing the Palimpsest project. We're sending artwork in layers around the world. I don't even know if you can understand. We'll show a piece of art at the end. You'll have a great picture of what it is. And here is our panel today, our wonderful artist group for the International Art Alliance. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Stephanie. I'm in a parking lot in Toronto, Canada.
Hi, I'm Denise. I'm in my studio in Saint Jerome, Quebec.
Hi, I'm also in Canada. I'm in beautiful British Columbia. I'm Rose L. Williams.
And Cheryl He from New South Wales in Australia.
Wow, we've gone far. And then our lovely member Lara is, I think she's a little bit under the weather today. Plus, she's had a lot to celebrate. I don't think that's why she's under the weather. And she's in the United Kingdom in Buckinghamshire. Buckinghamshire.
Yes.
Now, today, Rose brought up a really, really interesting subject, and I don't think we've really ever thought about this, or some of us had even heard about this before. That expressive art therapy. This is a modality of, I guess, psycho something or others. It's a
Psychotherapy.
psychotherapy. Thank you. Um, is a way to one of the ways that somebody can find their voice. And since finding voice is one of the things we've been talking about lately, I think this is a wonderful thing that we can discuss. Rose, thank you for bringing this up. How should I bet you guys who've never heard it before probably you've got a question like what is that expressive arts therapy? Maybe Rose, you could tell us what that is.
Maybe I should just start with the basic. Yeah. So you have your psychotherapy, different methods or modalities of therapeutic approach. The one most people are familiar with from the movies is talk therapy, that was popularized by Sigmund Freud. But that was just one of the sort of early explorations of therapeutic approaches to help people balance their mental health and their emotional well-being, because as human beings that's a component for all of us for our health. So you can have work therapy, you can have sports therapy, you can have music therapy. There are so many different modalities. The one that I trained in and I'm familiar with is expressive arts therapy. It is a modality of a therapeutic approach that uses the expressive arts as a tool to help people tap into their self awareness and to change the perspective on usually, things that are bothering you, but it's not always about what's bothering you. It can just be clarifications about things in your own psyche, your past, your own understanding, your values, your mores. They're all part of what the arts can help you explore in a kind of therapeutic modality, essentially. Interestingly enough.
Okay, I just have to mention it's like not only is Rose so articulate, but she can paint too.
You, Ross. Painting has been my personal preferred self therapy for a really long time. I
Mhm.
had to deal with misdiagnosed, undiagnosed severe stage 4 and endometriosis a large part of my life. So I was dealing with essentially the equivalent to a kidney stone for 32 years.
Maybe
Which,
bigger.
yeah, it was challenging to say the least. And I was a single mom at the same time. And just like anybody, I had to get by, I had to work, I had to pay bills and survive. So for me, painting was a way to tap into that flow state that we've mentioned before in some of our conversations. And a lot of artists talk about that when they get lost in their creative expression, whatever it is, it's music, dance, visual arts. Stephanie knows when you're playing your instrument, or often when you're playing your instrument with other musicians, you can tap into this kind of a collective unconscious meditative state that even scientists can measure. If they put those little electrodes on the brain, they can measure that we go into different alpha, beta waves of our brain waves and our brain patterns when we connect that way, or when we go into what we often term as a flow state. So you don't have to be an artist to connect with the flow state. I mean, I personally connected it to it when I was a child, when I was cross country skiing,
Mm-hmm.
where where you're doing something that's all encompassing. Your body, your mind, and your soul are involved, and you're expressing something physically where there's a rhythm, because cross country skiing is very rhythmic.
Oh, I love cross country skiing.
Exactly. It's like if
love
you've
it.
never done it in the snow, when the snow is soft and quiet,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
all the sounds are muffled and your
Mm.
senses are heightened, you get into a flow state, and it is very healing. No matter what you were doing before you got into that state, when you come out afterwards, you feel uplifted, you feel energized. A lot of people get it from exercise, where you get that high, or they talk about a runner's high. It's a similar state. It's a similar meditative, and the brain waves can also be measured to be quite similar. So
I find that it's there are, I think, a lot of different words to like synonyms to flow in that context, right? Like zen, or getting the vibe, or getting the groove, or getting that, like, just in the state of, in the mindset even. Anyway, sorry, just
no, but that's the essence of what we can use the arts collectively or individually to tap into. So a lot of people ask me, what is sorry guys, I'm trying to get this to stop. They often people ask me, like, what is expressive arts therapy? Well, the first time it happened to me that I experienced it on a heavy duty level was leaving the theater after a play by Thompson Highway, who's an Indigenous playwright here in Canada, and the buzz and the people talking, strangers talking to each other after the play, because the artistic flow had been so powerful that it affected everybody in the audience, and we were all sharing in such a heavy duty way, that's expressive arts therapy. That was human beings connecting on a healing level through the arts. That was really powerful. So for me, when I talk about it, I try to use that maybe sometimes as an example that sorry guys, I'm doing something else right now. Yeah. Stop our live stream. Leaving that play and feeling the buzz. I guess, like Stephanie says, there's so many words for it, right? The buzz between human beings, the interchange that had been stimulated by the actors, the music, the performance. It is a state of mind that we can all share. We can do it on our own, and we can do it collectively. When you do it as a therapist, you're just being a guide, and most of the time I'm just there to provide material, like, oh, here's some paper, here's some pastels, take some charcoal, let's just throw that in while you're in the flow, to facilitate just the art making, the creativity. And when you do it together with a therapist and a client, for example, or a group of clients at the same time, there can, if you're lucky and you tap into that artistic creative activity together, you can get that same buzz that I'm describing that happened after a moving play, or after a concert where everyone has shared something common in common that has uplifted their spirits together. It's and we, on a personal level, have been talking about when we're finding our voice, when we're exploring our own artistic medium, like Cheryl was talking about, exploring through technique, when you're sketching and you're exercising your eye hand coordination, and your spirit is sketching something that you feel good about. We're creating that flow for ourselves on a personal little bubble level. I mean, even when I watch Cheryl's demos, I almost feel like I'm tapping into when Cheryl is experiencing it for herself, and it's being shared by the video. And there's just that kind of momentary taking me out of my mundane, everyday level of stimuli and raising it to like a different vibration, like Stephanie said, a different vibration that can make you feel better. Most of us feel better when we've talked about tapping into our authentic voice and expressing ourselves. And when we've had a session like that, like Denise has talked about that, exploring this new modality of abstract and different gestures and different strokes and different viscosities. And I mean, she's just describing it to us, and we're getting like, wow, this is like a flow state that we want to encourage Denise to follow because it's beneficial. We can see the positive benefits. That's what expressive art therapy is sharing the modalities, whether it's bongo drums or mask making or movement, voice, painting, drawing, like Cheryl does with her students. She helps them tap into that joy of discovering that they have this ability inside of themselves. And I'm sure, Cheryl, you see that sometimes when people realize that they can do what you do. Like they realize, oh my God, it's not just Cheryl who can do this. I can do this too. There's a joy. There's a beneficial vibrational level that we hit when we allow ourselves to express creatively. We don't have to be.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you find, Rose, that I find it interesting, like our perception of time when we're in the flow or in that mode, right? Of our creative juices flowing. Maybe that's where flow comes from, creative juices flowing. Just because for me, I forget all concept of time, and time just goes by, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, or it just I lose myself, and I forget what time it is. I forget how long I've been painting or how long I've been doing something.
But that's the benefit. I mean, I talk about how that helped me get through the equivalent of a kidney stone for years. Why would that help you? Well, that's why it helped me, because I wasn't sitting there agonizing over every minute that went by, wishing and hoping that I could make the pain go away. Right. I was in that exact state that you're talking about, where I was like, oh, is it 1 o'clock in the morning? I didn't realize 7 hours went by and I haven't eaten.
Yeah.
It's something that literally takes you out of your body.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a distraction. It's an immersion.
And perfect said, Ross. That is the key. That is the whole key to why it's therapeutic. It's not the same as watching Netflix for 5 hours, which can be creative because you're absorbing somebody else's creative output. Certainly, maybe it stirs inspiration, but it's not the same as taking part and being creatively active yourself. And as you say, it's not a distraction, it's an immersion. It's a total immersion into that creative flow that we have already been able to test scientifically creates a positive brainwave benefit. There's no arguing. I mean, so much research has been done, kids who get to study music and arts, that actually improves their intake and uptake of the maths and sciences.
Right.
So we know that there are benefits. There's no arguing with that anymore. It's just, how does that work? Well, how it works, Stephanie just described it perfectly. Hours go by, you've been lost in this state of mind that is not being lost, it's being found.
Oh, beautiful.
There's something else. Sorry.
Go.
So just in terms of being lost in something and just not noticing time go by. So with art, it's much different than with, for example, coding or, working from home at night or something, where, again, hours can go by and you're just like, oh, shoot. But your mind is occupied on like all these little things, and on this bright light, or it's not occupied on the bright light, but this bright light is shining into your eyes while you're working. So I was just wondering, I was thinking, like, that's not really a flow state, though. I wouldn't consider that a flow state. I've never felt like that was a flow state. I mean, you're getting shit done, but it's not a flow state.
Yeah, that's concentration. That's focus and
Yeah.
concentration, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
some people are better at it than others and can maintain it for a longer amount of time than others. Like, that's what they talk about ADHD, right? It's like, I got
Right.
this super focus sometimes on certain subjects, but can't really get my head to focus on others because they're not interesting to me.
Right. Right.
That's a whole different thing. But when you're
How
able
much
to
is,
tap into
how much is ADHD and how much is just lack of interest sometimes, right?
Well, I
wonder,
mean,
but-
exactly. But I mean, the flow state and the immersion state are therapeutic for a reason. And the reason is that we are finding something out about ourselves. It is akin to finding our voice.
Right.
It is
Yeah.
diving into deep self-awareness. That's why sometimes you need a therapist to help you, because when you're dealing with some dirty stuff, some deep trauma, some stuff that you haven't gotten through, some, anger issues, whatever it is, when you've got that stuff deep inside or even on the surface, when you allow yourself to be creative, it comes up.
Mm.
That's what we've been talking about, finding our authentic voice.
Right. Of course.
Well,
Yeah.
Go
what
ahead.
about somebody like Vermeer? Apparently, he didn't do a lot of paintings, but apparently he had a very nasty, aggressive brother-in-law. Anyway, so he would hide in his studio and lock the door.
He would what?
He would
Unlock
go
the
and
door of
paint.
the studio.
Go and paint.
And then go into his imagination. It's
Yeah.
the healing power of okay. So as a therapist, I can see personally through people's stories that they share with me that often our imagination can be the source of suffering, because something happened to me so many years ago, but it's my mind and my imagination that just keep going, perseverating, just perseverating on it, and it just doesn't let it go, and it's just going over and over, and I'm reliving it and I'm reliving it. Reliving something is in your imagination. It's not actually happening to us anymore. So it is suffering that is caused by that part of our mind that's going off and imagining negative stuff, that we can tap into that same power as expressive arts therapy, to use our imagination to shift the story and shift the perspective, and understand that's a powerful place to be, is in our imagination. It's a power of good or evil, and then we get to choose when we realize that it is a very powerful component to the human experience, is imagination. It should not be dismissed. Oh, imagination is for indulging when you don't have anything better to do. No, without imagination, we wouldn't survive. We need it. It's crucial. And as artists and as creative people, we've been blessed to be able to feel good about exploring our imagination, but not everybody does. So in terms of what is expressive arts therapy, that's another component of it, is to help people feel at ease and more comfortable when they're in their imagination.
Yeah, I think another way to express what using your imagination can be is play. And
Right.
I think we've all had that experience of playing and then losing track of time.
Yeah.
Immersing ourselves in the character that we're becoming. If you played house or with dolls or something.
Yeah, exactly. And the dark side of that is psychosis.
How is that the dark side? That's so interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, because sometimes we're imagining things that are not happening that get us in trouble in the real world.
So for instance, if we had someone like Hiroshima Bosch with his Garden of Earthly Delights, his triptych. So, and we also have Goya, Satan eating his children. And who else do we have? Some of the other artists who are often like, what do they call it? The asylum of the grotesque?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, with Hiroshima Bosch, I mean, that's that, you know, the Garden of Earthly Delights.
Yeah.
We could actually put a picture in here of some of those incredible sort of images where some people do tap into the dark side. And what about Caravaggio? I mean, what did he was murdered when he was 38. He had murdered other people. He had a bit of a rough life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Artemisia Gentileschi, I mean, the trauma that she went through, and some of her paintings are so powerful, right? And Holofernes holding the head and everything. Those are, I mean, that's part of the human experience too. And sometimes it is therapeutic to be able to get it out of your imagination and into the vessel of a creative tool. And that's what they use in Israel for with the drama therapy for people who went through the Holocaust and major trauma. And it's very, very powerful modality. And it helps to process the real dark memories and relivings and trauma and process it and put it out on the stage.
I have to interrupt you because it's just too much of a perfect segue, because I facilitate something called the Jewish studio process. And it's it's a framework that uses biblical Torah text to help you guide your mind to understand and expand your creativity and resilience. And it came out of the world of expressive arts therapy, and then it has this other component to it. And like I said, it's a methodology. So now people can also experience joy in it. What did I want to say about it? Oh, yes, that one of the components of it is something called witnessing. So that comes at the end. We'll look at the work. You look at the work you just did, and then you'll write about it. And it could start very objectively, like I'd used a blue crayon, and here's a flower, and it's big, but then it'll turn into your associations as you'll tap into this whole other thing. And what happens is you become aware of things you weren't aware of. It helps you to translate this state. It puts language to your state. And just by being aware of it, I think that was something you might have said early on, Rose, like this awareness.
Self-awareness.
Right? Self-awareness. This is really a key. The key. It's the key. Or
it's the key to us finding our voice as artists as well.
Yeah.
Because the less self-aware we are about, well, why am I making this? I don't know my why. I'm not sure. I just like the colors. That's not just confusing for the artist, but for the viewer, as we've been learning, right? So we endeavor to find our authentic voice. But that's what you're helping people who come to your studio process to help them do, because it's a beneficial process. It has benefits. That's what I do, because it has benefits. So we do it because we're artists, and that's our chosen trade and métier in our profession. And it's something I guess we're required to do, whether we like to or not.
Yep.
However, there's that component that it's actually beneficial to our human psyche, just in general.
And so just to take something on that, right on that. There's this field also called process arts that's come out of this expressive arts therapeutic psychological field. It's much more a layperson's kind of an event or a way to get there. And one of the biggest components of it is that it's not product oriented. Like the result is not like you're not looking to make a still life or a landscape, right? It's just whatever it is that comes out, and it's the doing.
Yes, and the sharing of the doing.
And on your own terms too. So it's not like, I don't think the therapist will force you to. No. That would not be therapeutic. That would be damaging.
That would be going to kindergarten art class.
Yeah. That's so true. I've met a lot of people I had no idea how many people were damaged by that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, yes. I've seen preschool, early childhood instructors telling children, no, no, you can't do the sun pink. It has to be yellow. That's why we need expressive arts therapy later on in life, guys. On that note, I would love to see what you have hiding in your studio, Rose.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Me too. I'm
I
not talking
received.
about the bodies.
I hope this box is less dramatic than last week's.
Oh yes, that was
Yeah, me
quite
too.
something. That was something else. If
Each
you've
piece
been
has its own.
following us, we use these gorgeous Titan Master Packs. Did I say that right?
Titan Strong
Yep.
Box.
Thank you. Titan Strongbox. And, they're like perfectly situated. They come with this amazing foam inserts, but even more so. See this black? It looks like a blackboard. Titanium. They are lined on both sides with titanium, and the walls of the sides are super, super thick, folded over. They're like a two-ply corrugated cardboard that's also been
Look at that
engineered
carpet. Wow.
to have a whole thick wall. Okay, enough said. Let's see what this work is.
Thanks,
This
Master
came-
Pack.
Thanks, Master Pack. This came from Lara. That's who I received it from. So it came from the United Kingdom. I have no idea who else has looked at this. Who else? has
I do.
painted
I
on
know
this?
which one this is.
You know which one this
I
is?
know.
I'm excited to see what she
What's a
did.
palimpsest? Somebody say what a palimpsest is.
Oh, palimpsest is either a document or artwork that has been layered with different people putting layers on and taking layers off as it evolves.
And the
So
layers,
really-
previous layers always being visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is so exciting.
There's a term for that.
I
too.
can see bits of. I can definitely see Rose's work. Oh my
Yep.
goodness. This is really a living artwork. Oh my goodness!
I'm really
I see
excited to
Denise's work.
I'm really
Oh my
curious.
God.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Look
I've
at-
worked on
oh
it.
my goodness.
Oh, that looks really
Oh, wait,
good.
which way does it
That
go?
looks
Does it go
really good.
Oh,
this
wow.
way? I think I just-
Oh,
this
so
way.
pretty.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Oh, I don't want to do anything to this now. This is
I
just
know.
so beautiful. Am I holding it the right way? I think I am.
Yes.
I think
That is
so,
the
yeah.
correct way, because the hummingbird's flying at you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are the
I love Lara's little
I can't see very well because
whites.
I'm on a phone, but are the flowers painted on, or are they?
Well, there
Is
are
it-
there are
There's some
uh,
relief to
three-
it, or
three different types of flowers. There's excuse me. There's sunprint work. I think is that sunprint
Right,
work,
right.
Rose? And then there's painted flowers.
Cherry.
This looks like Denise's types of
Mhm.
Photo transfer.
blossoms.
Yeah.
I don't
Photo
think that's a
transfer and
photo
acrylic.
Is that a photo transfer that you painted? Oh,
Well,
But,
the
no,
photo,
it's a
photo transfer is
painting.
underneath and the paint is on top. Yeah. So it's
yeah,
both.
yeah. But it's a painting because once you paint the whole thing, it's a painting.
Yeah.
That's one of the rules
Yeah, it's true.
of it.
No, but you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And now these
Yeah.
are painted. Oh, I see.
painted?
They're painted of parts of Rose's sunprint. The white
I
part.
see. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're
Oh, nice.
perfect,
Oh.
though.
It is
Love it.
just gorgeous.
Wow.
I don't know. You can see the colors, right? These
Yeah,
gorgeous
kind of.
colors,
Yes,
like
can.
rich and earthy, and bright and natural and fresh, and this hummingbird in perspective. Oh my gosh!
Who's hummingbird?
Roses.
Oh, okay.
Roses hummingbird.
That's right.
It's
So
gorgeous.
this has been touched by Rose, Lara, and Rose, Denise, and Lara in that order, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
Okay.
And now
Yes.
Ross's turn. Can't wait
My
to see.
turn. Oh boy.
So it's you and me, Steph. Also,
That's
so
right.
everybody to go.
Yep.
Okay.
No
It's
pressure.
halfway done
No
now.
pressure. No
I'm gonna add a
pressure.
dot. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think getting to like the third and the fourth, or the
I
fourth
know.
and the fourth and the fifth, and that's like
Mm.
that calls up
Yeah.
different types of things for
Yeah.
us in some
Look,
way.
oh, a little line here would look perfect.
Yeah.
Something really subtle. Oh, did you see that? That one?
Oh,
A
wow.
little
Oh,
dog?
So excited to see what you do, Ross.
Yeah, me
Yes.
too.
boy.
Yeah, but any
Oh, boy.
ideas? Just off the bat, any ideas?
Absolutely none, because I just love it like
You have
this.
to read.
So
You
I
read
do have to read it.
timesheets.
I do have to read it. So, but I do have to say, so one of them that I have, and folks, I have a few here still, but this one that a bunch of you have already worked on, and I think I might even be the last person on it. And I had this really great idea, and I'd done sketches for it, and I'm practicing it. And then today I come in and I look at it, and I'm like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right way to approach it. So
Back to the drawing board.
back to the drawing board. I need a better
Literally.
concept, because it just didn't make any sense anymore suddenly, whereas before it made perfect sense to me. Welcome to the
happens.
world of making art.
That's why we have the 2-week rule, because when you have it for too long, that's what
true.
I did.
Oh,
That's the
Me
same
too.
line.
Me too.
I stopped and I started over again
that's a
because I
very good
had
point.
it too long, and I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
a phenomenon of like we have too much time to spend with it, and we
think
start
you're right.
second,
think
third,
you're right.
Second guessing everything. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I think you're
Completely
right.
agree.
Okay, I'm going to readjust my everything for that. I think we're coming to the end of our program, and any last words before we sign off?
That was interesting, Rose. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a great,
Yeah.
great thing. Yeah, I think we've all discovered something about our own awareness.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go make some
explore-
art, people.
Explore creative
art,
activity on your
Yes.
own with somebody. It's fabulous.
Fabulous. It really
It is.
Well, thank you all for joining the 5 of us today, and we'll see you next week. The Palimpsest Project, brought to you by International Art Alliance. Bye.
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 Thanks.